Hey everyone, it's MasterAquatics and I'm bringing you guys another video. As always, this video we are actually going to be talking about tank mates for angelfish. I don't know why I haven't made a video on this already. I mean, I've had plenty of fish besides angelfish with other angelfish. You know, I haven't always just kept angelfish by themselves. There's been a few times where I've mixed different fish with angelfish. Angelfish are very compatible with lots of other freshwater fish. You just have to take into consideration the size of the angelfish and the size of the fish that you would like them to be involved in the community tank with. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to give you guys a few fish for examples that you can have with your angelfish. The first example, or the first fish, is the Pleco. Now, Plecos are they are pretty much compatible with lots of fish, and the reason being is because they have a tolerance for a wider range of temperature ranges than a lot of other freshwater fish. I believe you can put Plecos with goldfish as well. They can survive a little bit colder temperatures, so you can put them with goldfish, you can put them with angelfish, you can put them with tetras, live bears, pretty much anything. As long as the Pleco is bigger or as big as the other fish in the tank, you are fine. Plecos, they don't harm other fish. All they really want to do is eat algae and eat algae wafers when they get bigger. When they do get bigger, you do have to worry about them trying to suck the slime coat off of the other fish. But to make sure that doesn't happen, make sure that you get some algae wafers and feed them to your Pleco. Plecos is the first fish that's compatible with angelfish in this video for this list. The second fish is the Dwarf Gourami. Now, I am specific, so I'm not saying that you can just get any gourami and throw it in with your angelfish. I'm talking about the red dwarf gouramis. These guys are a little bit smaller than the blue and gold gouramis. And I'm not too sure about the other gouramis, but I do know that the gold and blue gouramis, they're a little aggressive, so you don't want to mix those with the angelfish. But these guys are fine. I've done it before. I've mixed these guys with angelfish. No problems whatsoever. The only fish that they would be aggressive against would be themselves. I bought a group of these guys and they had no problems with any other fish, but they had problems with themselves. Every now and then they would get a little aggressive with each other and nip at each other, but nothing too serious. They would never kill each other or hurt each other. And again, they never went after any of the angelfish, never tried poking or nipping at the fins of the angelfish or their eyes or anything like that. Very peaceful fish and a great addition to a angelfish community tank. I'm telling you guys, you should definitely go for the Dwarf Gouramis, the red Dwarf Gouramis. They really make your tank, your angelfish community tank, pop. So if you're trying to get an angelfish community tank going with a good fish, then go for the red Dwarf Gouramis. Another type of fish that you can throw in a angelfish community tank are some live bears. These that you see right now in front of you, these are Platies. I forgot the variations, the color variation of these guys that you see in front of you. There's literally a whole bunch of variations of these guys, and I can say the same for the other live bears as well. Like, these are guppies. These would be great with angelfish. I mean, obviously they're too small to mess with the angelfish, and they're also not small enough to be eaten by the angelfish, but those guys do reproduce a lot and their babies will get eaten by the angelfish if you don't raise them and take care of them. You can also mix in wild fish with your angelfish, and I actually did this and I experimented with this and I got some pretty good results. These fish were actually wild caught. I actually went out and caught these fish with a net. These are just regular shiners like minnows, like feeder fish. except they're all natural, like they're straight from a creek. So if I were to feed these to my fish, it would be the best thing to feed my fish rather than feeding them rosy red minnows or feeding them like feeder goldfish. The reason being that I'm feeding them rosy red minnows and feeder goldfish at the moment right now is because it's early spring and the fish haven't come out yet. So there isn't too many fish out right now that I can go out and catch for my fish. So I have to buy rosy red minnows from PetSmart. But these guys did absolutely great with my angelfish. Here's a clip of me moving them into the angelfish tank, and they got along. They didn't mess with the angelfish didn't mess with them. I mean, it was a mutual agreement between the two to not cross each other's path and not to mess with each other. And again, you know, the angelfish tend to mess with each other rather than these fish. I mean, it's just funny how cichlids, you know, create these interactions with each other but totally ignore all these other fish. Like, the angelfish are just, they hate each other so much. I don't know why, but when it comes to other fish, oh, nothing, they don't think anything of them. You can also keep bullheads or baby catfish with your angelfish, and this is a wild caught catfish. I'll make sure to link the videos of me catching this catfish, and then also I'll link the video of me catching those shiners and minnows. I'll also link the video of me moving this fish into the 75-gallon tank in case any of you guys care. I also had this guy with my angelfish for about a few weeks, and he didn't harm my angelfish and my angelfish didn't harm him. So, and he mainly feeds on like small pellets. You know, he prefers pellets rather than like live food, so he won't go after fish or anything like that. And I still have this catfish to this day. I've had him for a few months now, and he's slowly growing to be a monster. I'm going to grow this guy until he is just huge. I'm gonna buff him up. He was so tiny in this clip. This is like 2 weeks after I caught him, and he was still small. I hadn't really been feeding him because I was keeping him outside at the time, and the reason being is because I didn't feel comfortable putting him with my angelfish. But then I took a chance and finally said, you know what, I'm gonna move him into the 75-gallon tank. Alright, so next fish that we got on the list is we got some discus fish. Discus, you can keep them with angelfish, but it's not always easy to do that, and the outcome is not always what you want it to be. So putting discus with angelfish, it can be done. It can definitely be done, and it's definitely possible. Never think that anything's impossible, because nothing's impossible. You just have to believe, and you just have to have hope, okay? But so if you want to keep discus with angelfish, you got to make sure that the discus outnumber the angelfish, or at least you have a big group of discus with another big group of angelfish. There has to be more than like 2 or 3 discus. You have to have like 6 to 8, 10 discus in one tank, and then you can have 2 or 3 angelfish. Or if you want to be fancy with it, you can add, you know, some more angelfish. You can get like, you know, 5 platinum angelfish, 5 kois, and maybe 5 blacks, you know, or whatever it is, whatever your preference is when it comes to angelfish. That was my preference, just so you guys know. You can definitely mix that with your discus. Also, make sure that you stay on top of your water changes, because discus, you know, they love that pristine and clean and crystal clear and pure water. Okay, you can't be skimping out on the maintenance with these guys, because if you do, you are going to pay for it, literally. And I say that because discus are a expensive fish, okay? You don't want to take chances and you don't want to take risks on these fish, because if you do and you don't know what you're doing, you are going to lose money. Money. You will lose money on these guys, because the cheapest price that you can get on a discus is around $25 to $30. That's like the minimum price for a discus, and if you're paying that much for a discus, it's going to be a juvenile, and it's not going to be the best looking discus. Now, the more pricey ones, I mean, you can pay anywhere from you know, $50, $75, $100 and up on a single discus. It just depends on the color pattern, the color variation, also the size of the discus, and you know who they're coming from, because if these guys are bred and raised in very good conditions and they have strong genes and strong health because of the care that was put into these fish, then they're going to be more valuable. Discus is another fish that you can mix with your angelfish. Now the next fish that we have here is a glow-in-the-dark Tetra fish. We also got a tinfoil barb in there. These fish can also be compatible with your angelfish. If you like fish that glow in the dark, or they have a little bit more color into them, or just something that's just a little unique and that really changes the atmosphere and the look of your room with these guys in your aquarium, check those fish out. There you can easily find them at PetSmart and Petco. The next fish that we have here is a gold Tetra. Pretty much any type of Tetra, as long as they're not too big, they will be fine with your angelfish. You just gotta make sure that you watch them a lot and make sure they don't nip at the fins of your angelfish, because some of them can get a little nippy with your angelfish, so just keep a close eye. The white skirt Tetras, I don't think they will be too much of a nuisance to your angelfish. They'll be fine, but you never know. Anyways, that's just the downside of angelfish in general, is that they have these long, elegant fins, and just fish see that and they're like, ooh, I want to bite that, and they end up nipping the fish. But that's just my experience. A lot of people say that Tetras are okay with angelfish 100%, like they won't nip at angelfish at all. Also, you can get some giant Danios, some roseline sharks. Those are compatible with your angelfish as well. As long as they're all similar size, there shouldn't really be any aggression or any problems or anything like that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys want me to make like a part 2. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and bye bye guys. Peace.